Good morning. How is everybody? I know. I hope everybody is keeping a nice spirit about themselves. Okay? A spirit that is finishing the week or finishing the month strong. And, understanding that your justice, your emotional justice, what you do to level out your emotions that is fair to you to do so that you can live your life and not be afraid of homelessness is versus competition. Let me explain. I don't know if you are going through this, but at least a large population of folks are. And so I'm just going to kind of throw you into the dynamics kind of with everybody. But we're assuming, let's say, you're the viewer on the other end, because I have no idea if you are the one that needs to be told some very affirming things. But you can probably say, if I mention something accurately, you can go ahead and use that for someone you know and find a way to edify them by this little teaching that I'm kind of putting out there. Now, at Social Alchemy Project Access Management, Social Alchemy Project is what the name of this YouTube channel is. Social alchemy, a change, an alchemy, which means change. A social alchemy is a change, societal, sociological, something that's for the greater society. Now, there is somebody out there that needs this message, and if you're not the one, then you, of course, can deliver it over to somebody that would need this. But at Social Alchemy Project Access Management, there is a new world dignity Christ mind that's coming from out of people, and that's why I've created the New World Christ Church for people to pursue the eternal power of friendship and family so that they don't have to be afraid. And that's exactly what the message today is that people are afraid of not being approved and therefore being rejected and being thrown into the streets, thus waking up every morning afraid of homelessness and blaming it on our fathers and our mothers and our families, our brothers, our sisters, our aunts, our uncles, our cousins, blaming it on the people that have been the most close to us. And perhaps they have religion or they have a skewed different idea, and it doesn't really coincide with you, and so you've had to take the road, not necessarily less traveled, but the road that hasn't been traveled. Emerson was a poet, author, and he said something along the lines of, don't take the path that leads to somewhere, but take a path that is not opened up kind of thing, and you will leave a trail. Actually, I'll go find it because I think it's it's important. One moment, please. It says, "Do not go where the path may lead. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." And so, in your life, these are called cairns. They're used to signal people from the ocean and land to say this is where we're at as civilization. Kind of like a beacon of light or a lighthouse. It's beautiful on this rock along the ocean. It's so difficult to figure out how this delivery is going to come out. But basically, if you are on a path and it's less taken of the path, you don't have to get off of it. You can continue. And as you do, you'll find people that are on maybe a similar idea of what you're talking about. God, my hair looks like shit. So basically, I'm going to be really direct because I'm not quite, I think, articulating what I'm trying to do. I woke up this morning realizing there's somebody out there that wakes up afraid of homelessness because maybe their family was divorced or wrecked because of a whore, or a family wrecker that wrecked your family, had sex with one of your parents or something like that. And maybe one of your parents never really reconciled or remorsefully apologized for the hurt that it caused you. And so you live in this panic and this traumatic stress every morning. And if that's your problem, you don't need to be critical of me because I'm the one that's giving you this talk for free on YouTube. So you don't need to be all critical and be ungrateful. But it's about justice over corruption, and it's about doing the right justice thing. This hair is fucking white trash. I need to get it behind me. And, oh, I don't like it in my face. I look like shit today. And I know I do. And, excuse me. Always have to be perfect for people. Maybe this can help. Always have to be perfect for people. Isn't that true, everybody? Didn't you feel you have to be perfect? And if you're not, you're gonna get rejected, and you get thrown away unless you can give good sex. This isn't gonna work. Let me put a tie around my hair, and I'm gonna get up, and you go ahead and judge me for my my clothes if you want. You know, I don't care. Nobody's probably even listening to this because everybody's so selfish. And they don't have the idea of communion with people. They're busy fighting, and trying to get ahead and trying to be the best. When at the end it's a race to nowhere, everybody gets there. But I have some things I wanted to share. And I got to get this this hair behind me. Just a second, please. Okay, so I just figure I should be more honest and more direct about what my message is. I woke up this morning, because last night my boyfriend came over to visit, and I woke up this morning afraid because I was taught not to accept myself because of Christianity. And I woke up again, even though my boyfriend had come by and given me comfort. I woke up again with those pathways in my brain that were saying, you're going to be homeless. And I began shaking, and I felt everything that I have worked for is going to be taken away from me. Everything is going to be destroyed by God because the Christians in my family told me that if I'm myself, God's going to send me to hell. And that's just really wrong. You don't need to teach people that at a very young age, like the age of 5, because it teaches them that there's nothing that they can do with their mind that will be correct. And they learn to fail themselves because the society is letting them do that. And the fathers don't want to spend time with the sons because the fathers know the sons have emotional problems, and the fathers don't know what to do because they're nervous due to emotional incest, and they think that their sons want to like have sex with them. Okay, this is something that's roaming around among people that are broken in their identities, male or female, gay or straight. I don't care, mothers or fathers, I don't care. People are victims of their own emotional incest, and whatever that involves as far as not having any boundaries and being unwise with the idea of communion, fellowship, and taking and sharing. So there are people in your life that are unsharing. They don't want to share their life with you, but maybe they want to share it with somebody in your family because somebody in your family has money and takes care of them, and you're kind of like flicked off. And your economics scare you in life. And as a man, you dreadfully need some type of earning that can make you not feel like a loser. And you can work on this energy that you have that's very doom and gloom. And there's nothing you can do ever to become loved or saved by people in your family that says God hates fags. They would never admit to saying it because they don't want to use the word fag because they know it's demeaning. But they believe God hates gay people. And however you're going to come out into the world as a preacher or a revitalist, somebody that's revitalizing people, trying to renew people, creating a revival, you have to get beyond the child, victim, and abuse awareness. You get beyond that by, of course, staying aware, but going into engagements with people that are going to get you further along in a prosperous world so you don't have to be so afraid. And this is kind of like the goal for everybody. And some people are willing to lie and cheat in order to get to that place of Christ-minded moment where there's male healing societies. And people are afraid, and they're fragile, and they're part of a slumber and a camp of sleepiness. And they want to be kind and human in the work, but the way the system has it is that you have to be an asshole if you want to survive, and you have to learn to lie and cheat and not share yourself with other people. And that's why these greedy people so close to you and home have done this by neglecting you. And they think it's okay because they've never been stopped. Okay? That's better. I want this around me, but it's so warm and I'm sweating inside. So I want this to stay around me like this. Okay. So stop people in their tracks and stand up to them if you need them to start talking to you, like regarding their business affairs and their cocky and sly and clever ways of getting what they want by stepping on good people. Talk to them. Let them reveal their secrets, and if there's any deceit or problems in the way they function and live their life, you could always ask them questions about that and get them talking in an elevated dialogue and or public discourse. All right, so in this whole communion with people that are dissing you and shunning you and making you afraid of homelessness, and they don't care about your sensitivity because they don't think it's important for them to share their lives with you in order to build you up, to make you feel safe. You have to let them know what you want and what you need. And don't let them get away with their classlessness and their ugliness and their grouchiness all over their faces and their lack of beautification and a lack of really helping people. There has to be a way out once you have been honest with these people and you've given the best reading of yourself intuitively to be honest with them about how you feel regarding the rejection culture, the approval culture. It is an endless love. Lionel Richie and Diana Ross sang the song, My Endless Love. So let me explain something by saying that. I was walking up some stairs and I saw between the stairs there was this branch growing from underneath the staircase because it was like kind of open air foot between each step. Cement and then air and then more cement for the next step, down or above. And I was really weak and I was walking and I looked at this plant growing from out of the little wedge between the footsteps. And I was putting my foot over the branch with a leaf in order to get to the next step because I was walking upstairs. I looked down and I thought, out of all the uncertainty of life, because I could slip, I could fall, I didn't feel supported by the weather, I felt afraid by people's opinions of me and how they won't hold me because I'm not a fighter and not giving them what they want as far as hostility. People like hostility. People like it when you're mean back to them. And that's a problem. So I just looked down in my weakness and I thought, how beautiful in all of the self-criticism that I forgo, that's my reactive mind, or maybe my legitimate response to the way people have mistreated me, that there's a branch of strength coming out of my underfoot track area. And I felt there's always going to be strength below the weakness for you. Okay, this is to bring it back to you. Because I'm Tyler Lord Hamilton and I have plenty for me. And I shouldn't even ever talk about myself ever again because I was told I'm not worthy. And I was told that I'm a loser. But you see, people, for myself like you have the resources to handle your loneliness and fulfillment of your life's calling and mission. And you have to get a hold on how you're communing with nature around you as it relates to your weakness. And what it means when you look down and see you look down and you see the branch growing. And what that's telling you. Okay. Dr. Jordan Peterson from Canada, he's considered the most famous man in Canada. He's a psychologist and professor of psychology and researcher and author coming from out of, well, he teaches at the University of Toronto, Canada. And he talks a lot about Dr. Peterson, PhD. He talks a lot about chaos, and in that chaos, looking for the clarity and the order, no matter the madness in your space. And listen, because you have active inner talks and dialogues with yourself, you're the one that can facilitate the implementation of your transparency when you go to the people that have not been sharing themselves to you because they're stingy and they think they're better than you, while they think they're jealous of you, but they really want to take privilege from you, and they've destroyed your family. They've destroyed your relationship with your parents, these family wreckers, these whores. There are chronicles and memoirs and autobiographical sketches that you can create for yourself, and you can read through as much as you want so you don't feel so sad and so dark. There's a way that you can create a morning for yourself. So when you wake up and you're afraid, you'll know exactly how to think on the things regarding money, rejection, letting negative people be who they are as negative attitudes until further notice. You can look at corruption and greed as important studies around being a gold digger. And every learning center for yourself has energy for male leaders. And you can teach on self-governance of yourself and do what is right when nobody is looking. And you don't have to be one of the liars, and you don't have to practice distrust. Even though people are squeezing you for money, they're actually squeezing your blood. People in the world, not everybody, but people in the world that may be bringing you down are people that want to take from you. And they want to leave you lonely. And they do that by making people afraid of you, by bad-mouthing you. And they get groups to be against you because you're different. You may be freaked out, terrorized, horrified, afraid, confused, and angry. And yes, we all are losers. And we're all winners. And we have to be of the hopefulness that if you bring your financial stress to work, there's going to be somebody there that won't see your pure heart and your intent for friendship, but see the bad in you because you are petrified and scared to be alone. Got news for you. There's people out there that still want to take from you, and they don't care. They will throw you under the bus. And they have learned that in the business of facing the devil, they have to be covert and secretive and lie to go through the life of complimenting others, but being two-faced. It's a stand up to prejudice with profanity if you have to. If you have to cuss people out, then please do that. People can't compartmentalize when they go to work, and they do other things between work. And they don't respect you if you bring your problems and you talk about the death of your family, or the white privilege living that's been taken away from you, or black privilege, or Mexican privilege. And therefore you don't really fully accept yourself, but you're trying to. And those that want bad for you still have put you in this self-doubting mode, and it has made you very fright or flight and petrified. And when you start discussing your mental illness or your mental problems around this, people will reject you unless you have money. So men, if you have become a son and your dad resents you for being the first child from his first marriage, you can respect yourself and him anyways. and you don't supposed to question if they have money. Now that's abuse, isn't it? But that's the way the system is making you work your mind. And you have to reprogram yourself, even if you have people in your family that are cold, that are rotten. Your need to reprogram your brain from reliving an existence with your father that didn't last is because you are making love mandatory in your life, no matter if the bastards try to bring you down. People that will wreck your family, that will rob you, that will rape your own grandmother, people that don't care, but they want to get, and eat, and fuck, and rob, and judge. These people are really going to find a very, very dark space at the end of their life. And so you can learn to disconnect from their hate they have from you and the fear of living you may have because they haven't encouraged you to stick in there. And if they have, it's their own splendor to have you show them what they want to see to serve the vanity of their eyes, do you see? And then they give you little pep talks. But at the basis of the jealousy and the hurt, there's a tree growing that's not from them, but might be from another area that is going to be there for you and keeping hope. Even if these family wreckers will not encourage you to stick in there and to care for people in your family during your double losses, deaths, and losses. So you can be kind and to have your own welcoming to yourself and to love yourself and to not deny a virtual regard, protection, monetary self that's based on money. You have to stay sensitive and upright against the racist, Christian, narcissistic, cunt faggots in the Madonna whore culture that believe you're going to hell because you're homosexual. The political participation is to come up against that for a global health society of men, for mind, body, soul, and spirit. Everyone is so bratty, and the illusion of happy ever after is a lie straight from hell, and you can still smell the smoke. You can still smell the smoke. And people will deny you of that void that they're going to be finding when they find out that that is the truth. They resent you for coming out of the world and being separate and being willing to be known. And they resent you because you are an artist and they don't want to explain you and they don't want to have to understand you, but they want to rob you from your family, or if there's money in your family that belong to you. These women and gay men will both spread eagle to get money out of your family behind your back and to have your parents go so far from you and tell you that you're the mistake that you have to deal with. People I know you are lonely and you are desperately in need to be accepted and understood. And the way people have rejected you and have thrown you out of their communion and fellowship has put ways of making money over people like you. and them having solid friendships and relationships with you. But instead, the shame goes on you for being in the human body and doing things that feel right to you, and you're told that you're going to hell while people are robbing you of your family. The religion and the hateful Christianity in your view to make you think you did something wrong when you weren't even dark or even selfish. But it's because people don't like people who are dark. So they will be two-faced and selfish to make you homeless, and they will make you afraid. And they are not able to give their heart to you in friendship because they do not care to know how you are after wanting the friendship inasmuch as you feel suicidal. People will throw you away when you tell them that you are lonely and you need friendship. They will have you scorned by their own, you aren't producing enough money, and you're not a winner, and you're a loser, and you can't make America great again. And this harassing you because of the money hard-ons, it's because they don't have time for you to be needed and to be accepted by them for being gay. They want to shame you for being compassionate to yourself, forgiving yourself, being comfortable with oneself as a gay man, and loving yourself first. They want you to be in need of wanting. They don't want you to build yourself up. When you seek the sincere, constant spiritual practice of gratitude, and you're proactive, and you grow up, and you're not being a little boy, but you're being a man, and you're telling them that you're frustrated in dealing with your mistakes when people are not professing the mistakes and the sins that they did against you. People, the Bible says that the sins of your fathers will go into the laps of the sons. That means the generation before you sons, your fathers and their fathers, it all slips over to you, and you have to come to terms with your own self-regard, your self-recording of what you're getting and what you're not getting, noting your narcissism, and a healthy self-love. Changing behavior by making decisions and looking at yourself and managing your self-alchemy, and providing for yourself and not thinking poor when dealing with one's mistakes, but getting up and fighting for the dollar bill so that you don't have to settle for homelessness. Be a man to love your own manhood. Be easy on yourself even if the female women out there hate you. Be direct and be patient with your requirements. Have a brave heart to save yourself on what is in your mind that is accurate regarding the lack of communion and friendship and fellowship in the world. Fight for your dollar, but don't be a prick. And don't be too busy then to be nice to yourself. And don't be codependent to other people's needs if you haven't provided for yourself. This is where we can address a social alchemy project with social arts theory and things to help you deal with the real you in an anti-corruption and human greed disabler, and knowing how you've skewed money and now you're being exposed for the hatred politics and the hatred people have for you because you're realizing you don't accept yourself and they don't accept themselves. But when you come out and tell them that you need their friendship, they will still diss you. So what do you do with your time? Well, people have mental problems because they are self-narcissist, social disorder fuckers. And in the man's legacy to provide and to pull away from hatred politics and people that want you underneath the bus because you won't let them rob you of your dollar because they're capitalists, means that you have to have your heads up and say to them, you have your head up your ass, and it's the land of abundance and many hard-ons in a tech social science theory, so to speak, with corruption and greed. And you have been treated to think like an under-earner and to have people steal your parents away from you by their adultery and them using sex to get the money that belongs to you and the real estate and the house that your parents built for you and your sibling. This rejection culture and approval system that gives you self-criticism and discouragement and discontent is because the land of perfectionism wants to make you a failure by being more perfect than you, when really they're pricks, they're pedophiles, they're liars, and they're the thieves. They're the ones bringing distrust, money hard-ons, and getting caught in hiding behind their shadows of prejudice, shaming you, making you afraid, making you hate yourself's life, even in the morning when you wake up, regardless of a lover that comforted you the day before, and feeling like a piece of shit because of the adultery and the fatherlessness and the son's homosexuality and them needing security because they have mental health problems and they don't know how to save their lives because all the yuppie kids out there are selfish, and it's a direct cultural impact on the loss of psychological masculinity, and nobody cares. That's the problem. Everybody is more self-important than you. And when you lay down your life to be holy and to put your cross to bear, they will keep you lonely, and they will show that you are not popular, and they will hate you for not having the money they want in a dishonest living society. Because you're honest and you're getting beyond your shame with your body and never calling yourself out as good, but believing you're bad, means that you need to be loved in a human emotional challenge most properly. Gay men, if you're afraid and you're scared of homelessness, you're not making it up. And you should be celebrated by your parents and your family. And you shouldn't have adulterous family records that have gotten your family divorced, turning on one another and making you feel lonely where no family wants time with you. And all you are is simply coming into your own. So you won't feel like a whore and you won't be weary all the time. You feel like you might not have any chance, but you can make a choice to pursue your fame and fortune and do good social projects because you are here to entertain people. People will resent you, men, for not lying to yourself. People want you to lie to yourself, and then they want you to lie to them. And if you don't, they will despise you for your poverty. And you will let them get away with it or not, is your choice. Many refuse to adore your love for life and same gender and sex, because they are afraid to be in the spotlight to show human kindness, shadows, and challenges as themselves, and to make themselves parallel and equal to the gay man, and not think that they're above the gay man, but they're equal. You can let people into your heart and meet people for friendship. When you meet people that you don't know that would be considered strangers, always know that you don't meet strangers. People relate to your soul, and they want to create trust. Let them gain a rapport from you, even of your family, and put you on the street, and made you prejudice against yourself as a homosexual. They will take you to the cross and crucify you on their behalf of their self-hate and wanting to get more money than you. They will distort the cross of Jesus through their racist Christianity. They want you to die of AIDS. You should have already committed suicide and disappear, and they want you to flick off. They don't love you. They hate you. You know yourself with your education and what the racist Christians will not maybe let you do with your education, because you're not good enough because you love men. They make that a spiritual crime for some reason, and they make you alone as you can't get past your own hate for yourself. They don't want to teach you to love yourself and to love other men and to find a husband as a gay man. Know why you hate your life and you're afraid, but see that branch growing from underneath and beneath the steps. And when you can do that, then you can maybe learn to not hate your life after all, and you could be nice to yourself in the things that you do, no matter your alone station in life with no friends who will last. But they reject you after spending your money on them, and you are angry and you hate your life because you thought they would be there for you and outgrow their fear of you. And you have to stay in touch with yourself. Yet the betrayal of yourself for being gay is what makes you afraid of being homeless. And that is very, I think, true to many people that don't want to acknowledge that you need a dependability for them so that you can have their life with them and have some type of democratic consensus or unity. You understand? The money system is meant to humiliate people after they've spent money on themselves. And the betrayal and the book that calls it absent fathers and lost sons kills the man, because the man, the gay man, sees maybe the family records that are robbing them of their own father, and nobody cares about themselves in the legacy of learning how to make money without family wrecking. People, men like to come out, truly out of the closet, but you have to provide them the security of your own heart and your mind to show them that you want to get past distrust, the underdevelopment, and people don't want you to defend yourself unless they can help themselves make more money and take vacations. You can teach men to talk up to others and have a freedom of speech regarding defending their economic futures in light of the continued constant fatherlessness, no dad and no real son, but gay psychological masculinity that needs to somehow come to fruition. You understand that, don't you? The business dealings that people portray are often deceitful, let's say, and it leaves you with having to figure out your own patterns of your life after you spent money on their business, and assimilating strength because now you feel alone, and the money never gains you the love that you want to gain from being with men on the topic of organizing the mind and knowing what it means to have a social justice education for men and meaningful ways to introduce the importance of coming out of all the closets after living in a rejection culture of approval. And now you have to be willing to be known. It's your best thinking that put you here, even if it's poor thinking. It's because you are at this place where you can now figure out what it means to be a fabulous man that knows something about needing love. Do you see? These, I think, are really important points. This is like in my way. These are really important points as you understand that you have to have respect for money because people will use it in order to take you from a socio-intellectual acknowledgement, a symposium of gay, straight, open, elevated dialogue with men, a public discourse regarding men who have sex with men. It is not curtailed or derivative of LGBT, but just men not knowing how to talk about safety. Every organization available to you as a gay male researcher would likely be excellent if you can come out of your closet and say, I don't want the brutality and the negative disregard for myself. I'm ready to love and be loved. So it is a socio-political drive that you have in order to be excellent. Are you selfish but not getting anywhere in your life because in your selfishness you are rather literally judging people? It is the last of a critical civilization, a nation that will not like itself and requires new social theory because of the rejection and the people that will not share their lives with you and they think they are better than you. They are afraid to be compatible with you by letting you love yourself. And you might think, well, I have a gaping hole, and that's right here. And I have said things that were very hurtful. And as a spiritual practice of gratitude and ending corruption and greed, it's important to be compatible with yourself. Where do you stand when there is no transparency? You stand behind a curtain or a theater wearing a mask. Who are you, the phlebotomist that's not drawing blood from yourself? Find out who you are and what you're made of. And have a God shot for a New World Christ Church or something that will let men be men and not use money hard-ons and the way money manipulates other men or other women to the expense of destroying a family. People really chase the buck, and it's all about buck the fuck and fuck the buck. It's principle over personality and progress and not perfection. Come as you are, no perfect people allowed. That should not be hard for you to manage if you know where you come from. That's important. People, the tempting taste of the body beautiful is because money has helped you develop ease as you go forward into life and manifest your destiny. And the people that have dissed you, that don't like you, that want nothing to do with you, are people you are not going to have to deal with in the future. Having a discreet, privy charm, the cinematic, filthy gorgeous of Tyler Hamilton, the new kind of sociopolitics, so to speak. A new kind of socio-intellectual and new philanthropy of self-regard is the game changer. So in the political climate, okay, and activism, you are responsible for the socio-homosexual spiritual crime, intra-homosexual discharge theory that you probably really do suck. But I'm not asking you to reject yourself. I'm asking you to accept that in the public health, social justice, education arena, and taking strategic steps for an energy learning center with client marketing systems that is there to help other people, not be afraid to have disclosures regarding their fear, okay, and what they are not getting in life. So in an online shithole plethora of experiences where you're shopping, you have to have this self-regard, this agency of change, that once you figure yourself out, you can, through your self-governance and self-alchemy, show how other people can know their history and reflect and contemplate and learn how to accept and love themselves using theory, practice, and pedagogy, and community organizer love. Make love, not war and porn. But if you've made war and porn, you can be dedicated to the happiness of a new day and love your life and have healthy thinking and not isolate yourself through pornography or the culture of war. But you can be a beacon of light and health. Everybody's running around saying, that's your character defect, I don't like it, I have boundaries, I don't want you in my life, I'm moving on. Well, if your best thinking brought you here, and the grave, the dark cemetery grave affects on you in a dominating culture of sex, money, drugs, and disease, is what you are studying in your social justice prevalence and justice studies and education. In a spiritually illegal conduct around people, you cannot be sour when you address your own spiritual crime and the things that have obstructed you and the body of your own emotional justice. Do you understand the connection? I mentioned emotional justice very early on, but in Rich Fag America, you have to keep reiterating that because leadership doesn't always exist. And thinking that we're leaders can be debilitating because in the open form of absurdist fun treatments to the study of a bombshell homosexuality and not being a robot, but examining yourself and having self-realization and educating yourself on what the inflammatory racist Christianity did to you and the family wrecking and the money is all very corrupt. So in the treatment and the study of practice theory and pedagogy, you find public inflammatory disease to the mind. And that is the character defect of a larger society that says your government failed you and your social institutions failed you. Honey, we're talking a lot about failure today, but at the end and at the start of your day, no one failed you. You understand? It's perceptive, oriented, of course. And if you feel you've been cheated, we move from out of that and we see that all is love. And that's how faith works. And creating a pathway to a public policy as resource for a successful re-entry into the world with emergent intellect and be powered by what matters in the emergent intellect. Pardon me, I can barely even speak. Oh, put in dentures. Where is my pin? I can barely find it. One moment, I have to get my pin. I'll be right back. Thank you. I have no idea where all my pins are going today. Okay, so. You want to navigate the criminal justice system, then you need to see that the spiritual crimes that have been committed under you were not your fault. Therefore, you don't need to go around acting spiritually criminal and wanting to kill people and being judgy, and dissing people too. We want an all-encompassing time together and not be picking on one another. All right. I want to thank everybody for this engagement today, and really, I think today's topic is so much important, and it's about emotional justice and getting beyond the approval culture that's rejected you. That would really be the message. I want everybody to know that you don't need to believe that you'll always be afraid of homelessness. Somehow all that will work itself out if you just remain focused on the work and tending of your soul, fighting faithfully and truthfully with your money. And knowing cognitively what that money hard-on has done in your reactive mind as it relates to people rejecting you, making you afraid to be yourself. I love you, and I thank you very much for sharing in this moment with me, and I really, really hope that you take what you can from this talk and throw away what you don't like. And maybe it's something that you can improve for yourself, for your emotional justice.